Hi, this is Gail Nettles with Beaded Jewelry Diva, and today we're just going to do a quick overview of beading needles. Why do you want to use a beading needle compared to, say, example, a sewing needle? A beading needle tends to be much thinner and longer than a sewing needle, and also it has a larger eye in proportion to its width. There are 4 main sizes in beading needles: size 10, 11, 12, and 13. Size 10 is the thickest, size 13 is the thinnest. There are also 2 main lengths of beading needles. There's one called the beading length, and they're also called longs. And as you can see, they are pretty long. And there's also something called a sharps, which is a much shorter beading needle. Or needle used for beading, I should say. And these are specifically made for beading. So as you can tell, a sharps is a much shorter needle than a beading needle. Now both of these are size 12s, but I personally think that the sharps needle is just a hair thicker than the beading. That could be just me, the way I'm looking at it, but that's the way it seems to me. Most people, I would say, probably use the beading size, the beading length. Some people prefer the sharps. It's entirely up to you which size or length you prefer. The sharps I do find useful if I am doing bead weaving and I've got a really thick fabric backing. Then the sharps can come in very handy because it's easier to stab through a thick fabric. They're also useful when you're getting to the very end of your beading project. You don't want to tie on any new thread and you think you've got enough. At the very end you find that boy, it's going to be really difficult to tie off. Switch to a sharps needle. This will help you go ahead and either weave through your project or do those half-hitch knots a whole lot easier because it's so much shorter. So I have both sharps and beading or longs. So up to you, whichever you prefer to use. There's no right or wrong as far as whether you like them long or short. There are several different manufacturers. As you can see, I've got some from Columbia, I've got some from Beadsmith, I've got some from John James, and I've also got some from Tulip. What sizes are useful for what kinds of beads? Size 10s tend to be useful for size 11s, 8s, 6s, the larger of the seed beads, as well as general beads that are like the round beads, the Swarovskis, etc. Size 10s are okay. Size 11s are a great all-around size. They can take anything from, the size 6s or the regular beads all the way down to the size 13s very easily, size 15s of the seed beads. You might have a little trouble with an 11 when it comes to some of the check seed beads, like some of the Charlottes, which are the size 13s and 15s, so that's when you might want to use a size 12 or 13, is when you're getting to those really, really, really tiny little seed beads with small holes. I'll just warn you, the size 10s are pretty good about not bending too terribly much, but by the time you get to the 10s and the 12s, your needles are going to bend very easily. For example, here's one that I have bent with just, regular beading, and I'll admit I am hard on my needles, but, depending on what I'm doing, I can bend a needle within about 15 to 20 minutes. Depends on what you use for by the time we're talking about the 12s and the 13s. And that's just the way it was. I bought lots of needles, always had some on hand, so I never had to worry about finding another needle when one of them bent. Till I took a class a few years ago with Sabine Lippert, and she was going on and on about the tulip beetles being so much stronger. I figured, yeah, right. But the beading store had some, so I went ahead and I got some, And I'll tell you, she was right. Even though these are a lot more expensive, I think I usually pay, gosh, for size 11s, I pay, I don't know, $5 for 4 of them. And by the time you get to the size 12s and 13s, they are like $9 and $10 or whatever. And I will say that I can bead for forever with a size 12. And I can bead for forever and a day with a size 11. And they don't bend very easily at all. I mean, I have to work at bending these things. So if you have a problem with bending needles, especially the 12s and the 13s, I suggest you give Tulip a try. If they don't have them locally at your local beading shop, you can go ahead and try online. That's where I tend to get a lot of mine. I haven't really seen them in like the Michaels and Joann's, but they might have started carrying them since I last looked. But if you have a problem with bending needles, Tulips are probably the way you want to go. There are other manufacturers other than the ones that I have here. There's something called Pony, which are very inexpensive, as I understand. I haven't ever used them, but a lot of people say that they're pretty good. So, you know, you can't find tulips, might want to try ponies. Again, if you have a lot of problems with bending and you have to do a lot with the size 13s and you can't find tulips, you might go with something with the sharps because they are a little bit more bend resistant since they're shorter. Sizes again, size 10 is the thickest, size 13 is the thinnest. I do have some 15s that I bought a few years ago, well actually many years ago, and I have yet to use them. But they do even come thinner if you, for whatever reason, need them. So this is an overview of the beading needles that you have out there, why you want to use them, the different sizes, and the different lengths. Well, this is Gail Nettles, beadedjewelrydiva.com. I'd love for you to come over and visit my website, www.beadedjewelrydiva.com. For my YouTube channel, I hope you'll go ahead and subscribe so you'll never miss another beading needle, or I should say beading video. You can see me use beading needles in the video. And if you have enjoyed this video, I hope you'll give it a like. So, until I see you next time, I will say have a great day and happy beading. Bye.